Zenimax have just been in the news for forcing an indie game developer to change the name of its game from Pray for the Gods to Pray for the Gods with an A and an E. Why did they do that? Apparently because they didn't want people to get confused with their game, Prey. And 3 months ago, Zenimax won a lawsuit against Facebook over Oculus Rift VR. Surely they've done enough legal dick wagging for now, right?
Like whack it in this direction.
Sorry, dude, you were the closest thing, you know.
Zenimax, parent company of your favourite bug-free game makers Bethesda, have decided to pursue legal action, this time against Samsung. Why are they in court now? Well, after going after Mojang for wanting to call their mobile card game Scrolls, forcing an indie game, Fortress Fallout, to change its name to Fortress Outfall, forcing Pray for the Gods to add an A to its name, and suing Facebook and Oculus over their VR tech, now it's the technology behind the Gear VR headset for Samsung Galaxy phones. Why is Zenimax going after the Gear VR? Well, as Gaz definitely mentioned in the intro there, Zenimax has just come away from a lawsuit with Facebook and Oculus over the Oculus Rift VR technology. It won $500 million in that case, which the company triggered back in 2014. Now though, Zenimax is alleging that Samsung is also unfairly profiting off of their intellectual property through sales of the Gear VR, which is based off of Oculus tech.
The Gear VR is co-developed by Oculus and it uses the same sort of technology that the Rift headset does. Zenimax says the technology was unjustly acquired because of John Carmack's collaboration with Oculus whilst he was still employed at id Software, a subsidiary of Zenimax. During the previous case against Facebook and Oculus, the court ruled in favour of Zenimax, saying that Oculus founder Palmer Luckey had violated a non-disclosure agreement by hiring Carmack. But the court also ruled that Facebook and Oculus did not steal trade secrets as was alleged. That happens to be exactly what Zenimax are now accusing Samsung of doing. So we'll just have to see if they've got a leg to stand on.
To me, this is like they failed to get the stolen trade secrets thing off of Facebook and Oculus, so they're having another stab at it. They're going after Samsung now, saying, okay, we did win $500 million, but they didn't get the stealing trade secrets thing. So now let's go after Gear VR and Samsung and see if we can get it that way instead.
They're just throwing the weight around, aren't they? They're like at the moment, it's like the analogy that you made in the last video was perfect. Like a bully at school, like pushing people into lockers and finding out he gets away with it, so he just keeps pushing people. Just
realised that he's pretty strong and he's really enjoying it.
Nobody's standing up to him.
Yeah.
What I find is weird is that they don't own any VR hardware, yet they're making a lot of money out of VR, aren't they?
That's exactly what they're trying to do. They're trying to get a slice of the VR pie. They believe they are owed a slice of the VR market because of Carmack coming up with this stuff when he was working there. And they want a slice of the VR pie. They haven't got a slice, so they're just going after other people's slices. It's as simple as that, I think.
Yeah, I think it's funny because Samsung and Apple are notorious for like suing and counter-suing each other. So Samsung have got like these war-weary legal team that are probably ready to step up to the plate and knock Zenimax out of the park. I don't know.
Hopefully they do. Zenimax says it's seeking damages from Samsung for infringement and misappropriation of Zenimax IP for unfair competition and enrichment. They are also seeking an injunctive relief which would effectively stop all sales of the Gear VR until Samsung either work out a deal with Zenimax, in other words giving them a little bit of their pie slice as we already covered, or they could prove the Gear VR doesn't infringe upon their IP. Zenimax says without this relief Samsung will continue to profit unjustly at Zenimax's expense. Poor guys. The media giant also alleges that Samsung are continuing to interfere with contractual obligations that Oculus have to Zenimax, this being the $500 million in damages that Oculus have to pay.
The intro where we talked about Zenimax swinging a stick around looking for pie, it just seems like a, I don't know.
Perfect analogy?
Yeah, quite a good analogy. He's looking for a pie to stick his dick in, isn't it? However, this long legal battle is far from over. Even though the court ruled in favour of Zenimax, Facebook and Oculus filed a motion to request a new trial back in April, and it's entirely possible that they may be fighting in court for quite a while longer. No dates have been set for any court hearings, and there's been no word yet from Samsung regarding the claims. John Carmack also alleges that Zenimax owe him $22.5 million for the sales of id Software back in 2009, which they have yet to cough up according to the veteran developer. But given that it took almost 3 years for Zenimax to get a court hearing against Facebook, this case probably won't be resolved for a long time. Like we touched on earlier, this all dates back to when John Carmack was employed by id Software, which is parented by Zenimax. At the time, he put a lot of research and he developed the VR technology, but then he jumped ship. So Zenimax's big underlying argument is that all the stuff that he developed while he was working for them belong to them. And I can kind of see his point. It's part of the contract when you work for anybody. Anything that you come up with creatively when you work for somebody, it belongs to the company that is paying your wages at the time. So that's where their legal grounding is. It just feels like they're throwing a lot of weight around. It's like, how many more years into the future can they sue people for VR?
They're not going to stop until they get like smacked down for real.
Yeah,
they'll just keep going.
And are they stop about HTC Vive? They can go after them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
is anyone safe?
So the question for me is like, where do they draw the line? Do you agree that Zenimax owe a lot of the rights, or do you think that it should be in public domain or whatever? It's one of those things. I'd like to pass the question on to you guys. I want to know what you think about this situation, because it's clear to us that we think that Zenimax are kind of throwing the weight around a little bit, but yeah, we'd like to know what you think.
Okay, so Zenimax, have they got a point, or are they just being dick-waving knobheads? Let us know what you think down in the comments. Remember to leave a like and subscribe if you did enjoy the video. There's another video right here if you want to watch that, and a link to Patreon if you want to support the channel. That would be amazing. See you next time.